The Hollow Guest. Mara arrived at dusk, carrying a suitcase that looked heavier than it should. She lingered on the boarding house steps, staring at the crooked roofline as if it might collapse. The landlady, a plump woman with a tired smile, opened the door before Mara could knock. "You'll be in room 3. End of the corridor," she said, handing her a brass key. "The house makes noises. Don't let them frighten you." Mara nodded mutely and stepped inside. The hallway was narrow, lined with peeling wallpaper patterned with faded roses. A few tenants peeked out of their doors as she passed a man in suspenders, a woman with curlers in her hair. They offered polite nods. Mara lowered her eyes and walked faster. Her room was small but clean. A narrow bed, a desk starred with initials, a single window that looked out on the sagging yard. She shut the door, locked it, and sat on the bed, exhaling as if she'd been holding her breath for years. That first night, she woke to whispers. They seemed to come from the walls, soft as sighs, weak, useless, broken. Mara sat up, clutching the blanket. "Stop it," she whispered into the dark. Her voice trembled. The whispers faded, leaving only the groaning of pipes and the faint scuttle of rats. But Mara did not sleep again. Over the next week, she avoided the tenants. When she passed them in the kitchen, they offered polite smiles, but she felt their eyes linger, pitying, judging. The whispers came every night, growing clearer. "They don't respect you. They're waiting for you to fail." Just like before, on the 6th night. While pacing her room, Mara noticed the wallpaper curling above the desk. She picked at it, and it peeled away in long strips. Behind it, hidden under decades of dust, was a mirror bolted to the wall. She leaned closer. Her reflection was off. Not grotesque, not inhuman, just different. The eyes in the glass looked sharper, more certain. A faint smile curved the reflection's lips, though Mara's mouth stayed still. "You don't have to be afraid anymore," it whispered. Mara staggered back. Her own voice had spoken, but she hadn't opened her mouth. "No," she muttered. "I'm not. I won't be like him." The reflection's smile deepened. Accidents began soon after. A tenant named Paul was found at the foot of the staircase, neck twisted at an unnatural angle. The police called it a fall. 2 days later, a young woman disappeared on her way home from work. Her room left untouched, her clothes still hanging in the wardrobe. The boarding house grew tense. Doors locked sooner, conversations hushed when Mara entered the room. The landlady's smile sharpened with suspicion. "Strange things lately," she remarked one morning as Mara poured tea. "Strange things since you came." Mara met her eyes and said nothing. The reflection in the mirror was smiling, always smiling. At night, Mara sat before the mirror and listened not to whispers from the walls, but to herself, to the words she had buried for years under fear. "They will always hurt you," the reflection told her, "unless you hurt them first," and Mara listened. By the end of the month, the house was nearly empty. The remaining tenants left with hurried excuses. Even the landlady began spending her nights elsewhere. Mara didn't mind. She liked the silence. She liked how strong she felt now, how steady her hands had become. One evening, she lit a candle and sat before the mirror. She stared into her reflection's unblinking eyes. There was no voice now, no other presence, just her and the faint curl of her own smile. The truth settled in her chest like a final, satisfying stone. The whispers had never come from the house. The mirror had never spoken. It had always been her. She leaned forward, her breath fogging the glass. "I'm not a victim anymore," she whispered, and the mirror's smile widened, perfectly in time with hers. Now the boarding house sits nearly empty, but people still move in. They always do. And when the new tenants pass Mara in the hall, They lower their eyes, unsettled without knowing why. The landlady warns them, as she always does. The house talks at night. Don't let it scare you. But the house doesn't whisper anymore. Mara does.